Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating, highly combustible behavioral profile, the astrological placement of Mars in the sixth house. Now, because Mars governs our drive and aggression, and the sixth house rules our daily routines and work, well, this placement creates a pretty unique map for navigating conflict, disputes, and arguments. So let's look at the mechanics of why these specific clashes happen.
I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever been, just going about your day, working on a project, and you witness a small disagreement that absolutely explodes into a heated argument in a matter of seconds? Like workplace tension that seemingly erupts out of nowhere? We have all seen it. Today, we're looking at the exact anatomy of why that happens for individuals with this specific Martian energy, and how a tiny little spark turns into a roaring fire.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the spark of conflict, or where the fire begins.
As we're seeing here, arguments for this profile almost always arise from a broken system. We're talking about massive frustration over inefficiency or delay. And honestly, this is absolutely crucial to grasp right out of the gate. The root cause of these disputes is rarely malicious. It's born from a deep-seated frustration when things just aren't running efficiently. For this placement, the drive to get things done is so intensely strong that any roadblock feels like a massive point of friction.
And here is exactly how that friction plays out in real time. Let me walk you through this progression. Step 1, it usually starts with a small disagreement. Maybe someone misses a deadline or a process is just dragging on. Step 2, because of that deep frustration over the inefficiency, boom, there's an impulsive reaction, a sharp word, a really quick critique, which immediately leads to Step 3, rapid escalation. By mapping it out like this, you can see just how easily and predictably a tiny disagreement about a delay transforms into a raging fire if it isn't caught right at Step 1.
Moving right along to Section 2, the heat of the moment, reacting under pressure.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens internally when criticized. The mechanics of this escalation take over immediately. First, the filter completely drops. There is a pronounced tendency to react impulsively during verbal confrontations. And why is that? Well, because the urge to defend oneself is an absolute instant reflex here. When criticism hits, the defenses come up aggressively. And if the other person matches that impulsive energy, the conflict rapidly spirals totally out of control.
Section 3, the daily battlegrounds, where these conflicts actually live.
So, because the sixth house is inherently tied to our daily grind, the battlegrounds are usually right where we spend most of our time. Think about that coworker who always replies all with a completely unnecessary correction. That is a trigger for significant workplace tension. It manifests as very active, intense competition with peers. But it's not just the office. This placement also points to legal or formal disputes. This energy naturally seeks out and engages with resistance in its daily environment, constantly pushing back against any perceived inefficiency.
Now we hit Section 4, refusing to back down, the standoff.
This is the stubborn reality of Mars in the sixth house. There is a profound difficulty backing down once emotionally triggered. It's literally an emotional tripwire. Once pride is engaged and those defense mechanisms we talked about are activated, finding a reverse gear in an argument is incredibly difficult. They become locked into defending their efficiency, and yielding just feels like total defeat. This is the exact moment where disputes drag on and cause the most collateral damage.
Finally, Section 5, mastering the Martian energy, taking back control. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between unmanaged and managed energy. Unmanaged, this energy just runs on autopilot, right? It leads to rapid escalation and that inability to back down. But when it's managed, by actively learning to control that initial anger over inefficiency, you significantly improve conflict outcomes. You see, the Martian energy isn't bad at all. Actually, it's a tremendous source of drive and competence. It just desperately needs you sitting squarely at the steering wheel.
The ultimate takeaway here is simple, even if it isn't always easy. Learning to control anger improves outcomes in conflicts significantly. By building real self-awareness, you start to recognize that a missed deadline is just a trigger. You can actually stop that impulsive verbal reaction before it even starts. You can prevent the rapid escalation, take a step back, address the issue calmly, and completely change the outcome of the situation.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. When you feel that familiar spark of frustration, whether it's at work, with a peer, or even in a formal dispute, how will you use self-awareness to shift your next battlefield into a breakthrough? That drive to be efficient and capable is a true gift, but mastering your reaction to the roadblocks, that is your true superpower. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to dive into our next topic with you.